The moment you walk into a grocery store, you probably think you're making independent decisions. You choose what to buy, how much to spend, and when to leave. But here's the truth. Nearly every element of that store, from the lighting to the floor tiles, has been engineered by consumer psychologists to override your rational decision-making. And the science behind it is both fascinating and slightly terrifying. Retail manipulation tactic number 1. The Decompression Zone. Paco Underhill, the founder of retail anthropology and author of Why We Buy, spent decades filming shoppers with hidden cameras. He discovered that the first 5 to 15 feet of any store is what he calls the decompression zone. In this area, shoppers are transitioning from the outside world. Their pace is slowing, their senses are adjusting. Underhill found that almost nothing placed in this zone gets noticed. That's why stores put their high-margin items just beyond it. The moment your brain finishes adjusting, the first thing you see is exactly what they want you to buy. Tactic number 2. Strategic floor layout. Ever wonder why milk and eggs are always at the back of the grocery store? It's not for refrigeration convenience. It's because these are the items nearly everyone needs. By placing them at the back, the store forces you to walk past thousands of products you didn't plan to buy. Research by Herb Sorensen, who tracked over 50,000 shoppers using RFID technology, found that this layout increases unplanned purchases by 40 to 60%. The longer your path through the store, the more your cart fills up. Tactic number 3. Background music. This one is remarkably well studied. Ronald Milliman's landmark 1982 research published in the Journal of Marketing found that slow-tempo background music caused shoppers to move 15% slower through the store and spend 38% more money. When the tempo was fast, shoppers moved quickly and spent less. Restaurants use the same trick in reverse: fast music during lunch rush to turn tables faster, slow music during dinner to keep you lingering and ordering more drinks. A follow-up study by North, Hargreaves, and McKendrick in 1999 went even further. When a wine shop played French music, French wine outsold German wine 5-1. When they switched to German music, the ratio flipped. When asked, shoppers denied that music influenced their choice. They had no conscious awareness of the manipulation. Tactic number 4. Ambient scent. Eric Spangenberg at Washington State University demonstrated that congruent ambient scents, meaning scents that match the product category, increase purchase intent by up to 30%. This is why bakeries vent their ovens toward the entrance. Why real estate agents bake cookies before open houses. Why car dealerships pump in that distinctive new car smell, which is actually a manufactured fragrance. Martin Lindstrom, in his book Biology, used fMRI brain scans to show that scent activates the limbic system, the emotional center of the brain, before the prefrontal cortex, your rational brain, even has time to process it. By the time you think about whether you want that fresh bread, your emotional brain has already said yes. Tactic number 5. The decoy effect. This is one of the most powerful pricing strategies in consumer psychology, and it was proven by Dan Ariely at MIT. Imagine you're choosing between two options: a small coffee for $3 and a large coffee for $7. Most people pick the small one. But add a medium coffee for $6.50, and suddenly the large looks like a bargain. Only 50 cents more than the medium for a significant size upgrade. The medium exists not to be chosen, but to make the large look like the smart choice. Ariely demonstrated this with magazine subscriptions at The Economist and found that the decoy option shifted consumer preference by up to 40%. You've seen this at every movie theater, every software pricing page, and every fast food menu. The middle option is almost always the decoy. Tactic number 6. Artificial scarcity and urgency. Robert Cialdini's research on the scarcity principle showed that when people believe something is limited, they want it more, regardless of its actual value. This is the engine behind every flash sale, every limited time offer, and every countdown timer on every e-commerce website. A classic study by Wirtschel, Lee, and Adewole in 1975 found that identical cookies were rated as more desirable and more valuable when there were only 2 left in the jar versus 10. The cookies were exactly the same. The only difference was perceived scarcity. Online retailers have weaponized this with real-time inventory warnings. Only 3 left in stock. 47 people are viewing this right now. Sale ends in 2 hours, 17 minutes. These notifications create what psychologists call fear of missing out, and they compress your decision-making timeline so you don't have time to think rationally. Tactic number 7, strategic product placement. Brands pay enormous premiums for eye-level shelf space, and the research confirms why. Products placed at eye level sell 35% more than those on lower shelves. This is why children's cereals are placed at children's eye level, not adults. Grocery stores also place high-margin store brands directly next to name brands at slightly lower prices, exploiting what behavioral economists call the contrast effect. The expensive brand makes the store brand look like a deal, even if the store brand itself carries a healthy profit margin. Tactic number 8, the checkout trap. Everything about the checkout area is designed for impulse purchases. The items placed there are small, inexpensive, and require no deliberation. Candy bars, magazines, batteries, phone chargers. Research shows that consumers are most vulnerable to impulse buying when they're experiencing what psychologists call decision fatigue. After making dozens of choices throughout the store, your prefrontal cortex is depleted. Your willpower is at its lowest point. And that is exactly when the store places its highest margin impulse items directly in front of you. So, how do you defend yourself? The research actually provides clear answers. Defense number 1, always shop with a list and commit to it before you enter. A study by Thomas and Garland found that shoppers with a written list spent 23% less than those without one. The list acts as a pre-commitment device, reducing the number of in-store decisions your brain has to make. Defense number 2, eat before you shop. This sounds trivial, but the research is clear. A 2013 study in JAMA Internal Medicine found that hungry shoppers bought 31% more high-calorie food and spent significantly more overall. Your physical state directly affects your financial decisions. Defense number 3, set a time limit. Remember Milliman's music research? The longer you're in the store, the more you spend. Give yourself a specific time window and stick to it. 30 minutes maximum for a routine grocery trip. Defense number 4, use cash instead of cards. We covered this in our denomination effect video, but it bears repeating. The physical pain of handing over cash activates spending awareness that digital payments bypass entirely. For grocery shopping specifically, withdrawing a fixed weekly cash budget is one of the most effective spending controls the research has identified. Defense number 5, recognize the manipulation in real time. This is the most powerful defense of all. Once you understand that the music, the scent, the layout, the pricing tiers, and the checkout displays are all engineered to exploit specific cognitive biases, you gain what psychologists call metacognitive awareness. You can observe the manipulation without being controlled by it. You don't have to avoid stores. You just have to walk in, knowing the game. Every store is a psychology experiment, and you're the subject. But now you know the hypothesis, and that changes everything. If this opened your eyes to the science of consumer manipulation, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Every Tuesday and Friday, we expose another way your brain interacts with money. Next up, we're explaining why your brain physically cannot save money and what a phenomenon called hyperbolic discounting reveals about the battle between your present self and your future self. Link is on screen now.